The message came on a Tuesday. Every screen on Earth showed the same thing at once. TVs, phones, computers, all of them. The face on the screens wasn't human. It had gray skin, 4 yellow eyes, and no nose. "People of Earth," it said in perfect English, "I am Fleet Commander Tyclax of the Vrol Empire. Your planet now belongs to us. We have taken over hundreds of worlds. You cannot fight us. You cannot win. You have 2 Earth days to surrender." The message played again in many languages. Then the screens went back to normal. People around the world panicked. Some ran to stores to buy food and water. Others hid in their homes. Many prayed. In Seoul, Dr. Jae Kim watched the message from his lab at the National Bird Research Center. He was 32 years old, with short black hair and glasses. He had been studying birds for 10 years. "This has to be fake," said his friend Dr. Hyun Park. Hyun was older with gray at his temples. He worked with computers and bird tracking systems. "Look outside," Jay said. Through the big windows, they could see people running in the street. Car alarms were going off. Someone had crashed their car into a light pole. "The whole world is seeing this," Jay said. He checked his phone. News sites were crashing from too many people trying to read them. The president of South Korea soon appeared on TV. She looked scared, but tried to stay calm. "We are working with other nations to understand this threat," she said. "Please stay in your homes if possible. Do not panic." But people did panic, and while they did, Jay noticed something strange. Outside the lab windows, birds were gathering. Hundreds of them. Crows, pigeons, sparrows, and even hawks. Birds that normally didn't mix were sitting together on power lines and trees. "Hyun, look at this," Jay said, pointing outside. Hyun glanced up from his computer. "So, birds gather sometimes. Not like this. Not these species together." Joe grabbed his camera and took photos. "I've never seen anything like it." His phone rang. It was Sue Lee, his research assistant. She was 25 with short, practical hair and a serious face. "Dr. Kim, are you seeing the birds?" she asked without saying hello. "Yes, at the lab too," he said. "It's happening all over the city," Sue said. "My brother works at the airport. He says planes can't take off because of bird flocks." "Come to the lab," Jay told her. An hour later, Sue arrived. Her usually neat clothes were messy, and she was out of breath. "The streets are crazy," she said. "But the birds, they're acting strange everywhere." Jay showed her the data coming in from their tracking systems. Birds with tiny trackers were all moving in new patterns. Some had flown hundreds of miles in just hours. "It's like they're responding to the alien message," Jay said. Hyun laughed. "That's ridiculous. Birds don't watch TV." "But they might sense something we can't," Jay said. "Remember how they can detect earthquakes before they happen, or how they navigate using Earth's magnetic field?" Sue nodded. "Maybe they know something is coming." On the lab TV, world leaders were meeting. The United Nations was in emergency session. Military forces around the world were on high alert. "We should be worried about the aliens, not birds," Hyun said, turning up the volume. But Jay couldn't stop watching the birds. More were gathering every hour. And they were organized, not fighting or competing for space as they normally would. That night, Jay didn't go home. He stayed at the lab, watching the birds and collecting data. Something big was happening with them. And high above Earth, unseen by human eyes, the first Vrol scout ships entered orbit. Their sensors scanned the planet, measuring weapons, technology, and defenses. "Primitive," the Vrol commander said to his crew. "This will be an easy conquest." But he didn't notice the birds. Nobody ever did. Until it was too late. The morning after the alien message, people saw the ships. Small and silver, they looked like falling stars in the daylight sky. There were hundreds of them, dropping into Earth's atmosphere. Dr. Jae Kim watched from the roof of the Bird Research Center. He counted 12 ships just over Seoul. Through his binoculars, he could see they were flat and round like metal discs. "They're scanning us," said Hyun, looking at his tablet. "Our systems are going crazy." Sue burst through the roof door. "You need to see this," she said, holding up her phone. The screen showed live news. Alien ships were over every major city in the world. None were shooting or attacking, just hovering and scanning. "World leaders are trying to talk to them," Sue said, "but they won't answer." Ja looked away from the ships to the birds. Even more had gathered overnight. The trees, power lines, and rooftops were covered with them. And they were all looking up at the alien ships. "This isn't normal," Jay said. "Look at the crows and hawks sitting together. That never happens." A large black crow landed on the roof railing near them. It stared at Ja with one eye, then turned to look at the nearest alien ship. "It's like they're watching them," Jay said. Hyun shook his head. "We should be preparing, not bird watching. These aliens could attack any minute." Back in the lab, Jay pulled up the global bird tracking data. Birds everywhere were moving strangely. Millions were flying to cities with alien ships. Species that normally lived alone were forming mixed flocks. "What are they doing?" Sue asked, looking over his shoulder. "I don't know," Jay said, "but it's coordinated. They're responding to something." On the lab TV, a scientist was speaking. "The alien ships are scanning our technology, weapons, and defenses. They're learning about us." Hyun turned up the volume. "This is what matters, Jay. Not birds." The news showed military vehicles in the streets, tanks, missile launchers, and soldiers with guns. They surrounded the alien ships but didn't fire. "We should go home and be with our families," Hyun said. "If these aliens attack." "You go," Jay said. "I need to record what's happening with the birds." Hyun left, but Sue stayed. "I'll help," she said. They worked through the day, collecting data and taking videos. By evening, the birds had formed perfect circles around each alien ship, keeping their distance but clearly watching them. In space, aboard the main Vrol ship, Commander Tychlax reviewed the scout reports. "Humans have nuclear weapons," said an officer, "but they're primitive. Their space technology can barely reach their own moon." "Military response?" asked Tychlax. "Disorganized. Each country has its own forces. They have no planetary defense system." Tychlax showed his sharp teeth in what might have been a smile. "As expected. What about unusual findings?" The officer checked a screen. "Large numbers of small flying creatures near our ships. The humans call them birds. Harmless wildlife, Commander." "Prepare the attack plans," Tychlax ordered. "We strike tomorrow." Back on Earth, night had fallen. Jai and Sue stood at the lab window, watching the birds. Even in darkness, they remained in their positions, thousands of them, silent and watchful. "Something's coming," Sue whispered. "They know." Jay nodded. "But what can birds do against alien ships?" On his computer screen, new data appeared. Birds all over the world were now moving in perfect patterns, like soldiers forming battle lines. Jay's phone rang. It was a number he didn't know. "Dr. Kim," said a woman's voice. "This is Captain Jin Kang, Korean Air Force. We've been monitoring unusual bird activity around the alien ships. We need your expertise immediately." "They're organizing," Jay said, "like they're preparing for something." "Yes," said Captain Jin. "But the question is, what?" As they spoke, the crow from earlier landed on Jay's windowsill. It tapped the glass with its beak 3 times, then turned to look at the alien ship hovering over Seoul. The birds were ready. And tomorrow, the aliens would find out why. The attack started at dawn. The small scout ships suddenly grew weapons. Long metal tubes appeared from their sides. Blue light gathered at the ends of these tubes, then fired. The first targets were military bases. In Seoul, Jia and Sue watched from a military car as Captain Jin drove them to a safe bunker. Buildings exploded behind them. The sound was like thunder, but louder. "Their weapons are too strong," Captain Jin said. Her face was calm, but her knuckles were white on the steering wheel. Nothing we have can stop them. On the car radio, reports came in from around the world. The aliens were winning everywhere. Tanks and jets did nothing against their ships. The blue light from alien weapons melted everything it touched. What about the birds? Jai asked. Where are they now? Jin glanced at him. You still care about birds when we're being invaded? I think they matter, Jay said. Look ahead. On the road in front of them, thousands of birds had gathered. Crows, pigeons, hawks, and many others stood in the middle of the empty road. Jin slowed the car. We need to go through. The bunker is just past those hills. As they got closer, the birds didn't move. Then, as one, they all turned to look at the car. Stop, Jay said. Please stop the car. Jin stopped. We don't have time for this. The largest crow Jai had ever seen hopped toward the car. It was pure black with knowing eyes. It stopped at Jay's window and tapped 3 times with its beak. It's the same one from the lab, Sue whispered. Jay slowly opened his window. The crow didn't fly away. Instead, it made a sound like no bird Jay had ever heard, a series of clicks and whistles. Then it flew up and landed on the car roof. Drive forward slowly, Jay said. Jin started driving again. As they moved, the birds made a path for them. Then, when the car passed, the birds took off into the sky. Thousands of wings made a sound like heavy rain. Where are they going? Sue asked. Jin pointed up through the windshield. 3 alien ships were coming toward them, weapons glowing blue. We're too late, Jin said. We can't outrun them. Then the birds reached the ships. Not hundreds, but thousands of birds, a dark cloud that covered the sky. They flew directly at the aliens. What are they doing? Jin asked. They'll just die. The birds didn't attack randomly. They targeted specific parts of the ships. The sensors, the weapons, the thin joints between metal plates. Beaks and claws tore at wires and delicate equipment. The aliens fired their weapons, killing hundreds of birds. But for each bird that fell, 10 more took its place. The ships began to wobble in the air. Then one ship's weapons went dark. Another started spinning. The third tried to fly higher, but the birds followed. They're disabling them, Jay said in wonder. The birds know exactly where to attack. One ship crashed into a field. Another flew away damaged. The third exploded in the air, raining metal parts. The crow on their car roof made a sound like victory. On the radio, new reports came in. Birds were attacking alien ships all over the world. Hawks and eagles hit ship sensors. Smaller birds got inside engine vents. Larger birds worked together to tear off important parts. It's happening everywhere, Sue said, reading news on her phone. The birds are fighting back. Jin drove faster now. We still need to reach the bunker. The military needs to know about this. In orbit, Commander Tychlax received urgent messages from his forces. What do you mean the flying creatures are attacking? He shouted. They're just animals. They're organized, said a scared officer. They target weak points. They work together. We've lost 30 ships already. For the first time, Tychlax felt fear. Pull back all ground forces. We need a new plan. On Earth, Jay watched the sky fill with retreating alien ships, and following them, the birds, Earth's unexpected defenders. The crow on the car roof looked at Jai and made a soft sound. Jay understood. This was only the beginning. 6 hours after the birds drove back the first attack, Jay sat in a military bunker with Captain Jin, Sue, and 5 generals. On screens around them, videos played of birds fighting alien ships all over the world. It's the same everywhere, Jin said. The birds know exactly where to hit the ships to cause damage. A general pointed at a video from New York. Look at how the hawks target the ship sensors, and the smaller birds go for the cooling vents. They're using strategy, another general said, sounding surprised. But how do they know what to do? All eyes turned to Ja. He took a deep breath. I think they've always known, he said. Birds have been on Earth for millions of years. Maybe they've protected us before. From aliens? A general asked, doubtful. Why not? Jay said. Birds can sense things we can't. They navigate by Earth's magnetic field. They can feel changes in air pressure, detect sounds we can't hear. Sue added, many old stories talk about bird gods protecting humans. What if those weren't just stories? The generals looked at each other. It seemed crazy, but the evidence was on every screen around them. Whatever the reason, Captain Jin said, the birds are our best defense right now. We need to work with them. Outside the bunker, the special crow waited. It had followed their car all the way there. Now it sat on a tree, watching the door. Jay went outside. The crow flew down and landed near him. Thank you, Jay said to it. You saved us. The crow made a series of sounds, almost like it was talking. Then it looked up. Jay followed its gaze. High above, the alien ships were gathering. There were hundreds, maybe thousands of them now. Much bigger than before. They're coming back, Jay whispered. The crow spread its wings wide, then took off. In the sky, birds were gathering again. Millions of them now, from every direction. Back in the bunker, Jay told the others what he saw. The aliens are regrouping, he said, but so are the birds. On the radar screens, the alien ships were moving into attack formations, but something else was showing up too. Massive clouds of birds, moving in organized patterns. I've never seen anything like this, a radar operator said. The birds are forming. Formations, like an army. Captain Jin studied the screens. They're creating defensive lines around cities and important places. How are they communicating? A general asked. Sue, who had been quiet, suddenly spoke up. I've been analyzing the sounds they make. There's a pattern, but it's at frequencies humans can barely hear. She played a recording she made, but adjusted the frequency. Now they could all hear complex patterns of sound. It's a language, Jay said. They're talking to each other. A message came in from other bunkers around the world. Birds everywhere were organizing into defensive positions. They weren't just randomly attacking. They were protecting humans. In space, Commander Tychlax prepared for a second attack. Use the sonic weapons, he ordered. Target the flying creatures first, then the human cities. But Commander, an officer said, we've never seen animals fight like this. What if they're more than animals? They are vermin, Tychlax snapped, and we will crush them. The alien fleet began to descend. This time, they had weapons specifically designed to kill birds, sound waves that would rupture their small bodies from inside. But the birds were ready. As the fleet entered the atmosphere, the dark clouds of birds shifted. They formed new patterns, denser in some places, spread out in others. In the bunker, everyone watched the screens. What are they doing? Jin asked. Jay studied the patterns. They're adapting, changing their tactics. Can they win against those weapons? A general asked. I don't know, Jay said honestly, but they're not fighting alone anymore. Around the world, humans began to help. People opened their windows to let birds rest inside. Zoos released their birds to join the fight. Scientists shared data about the alien ship's weaknesses. For the first time, birds and humans were working together against a common enemy. And the aliens had no idea what they were really facing. 2 days after the first attack, Jai, Sue, and Captain Jin set up a research station in the bunker. They needed to understand the birds better to help them fight. Hyun finally arrived too. He looked tired and worried. I thought you were dead, he said, hugging Jai. When the attack started, I tried to get back to the lab, but the roads were blocked. We need your help, Jay said. The birds are communicating in ways we can't understand. Hyun looked at the screens showing bird formations in the sky. I never thought I'd say this, but you were right about the birds. Their special crow friend stayed near the bunker. Jai had named him Scout. Scout seemed to watch over them. and sometimes brought other birds to show Ja. Sue worked with recording equipment, capturing the sounds the birds made. "Listen to this," she said, playing a modified recording. "They have different sounds for different things." They heard a series of clicks and whistles. "That means alien ship approaching," Sue explained. "And this one," she played another sound, "means weak point found." "They're coordinating their attacks," Captain Jin said, "like a real army." Hyun worked with computers, analyzing the bird sounds. "It's not just noise," he said. "It's a real language with patterns and rules. And they're using frequencies that travel far and fast." Jay studied bird behavior from videos sent from around the world. "Look at this," he said, pointing to footage from Brazil. "Parrots guide smaller birds to weak spots on the ships. In Japan, crows do the same thing. They're sharing information globally," Hyun said. "That's why they all know where to attack." A general entered the room with important news. "We found something in ancient texts," he said. "Stories from every culture about birds protecting humans from sky demons or metal giants." He showed them pictures of old cave paintings. They showed birds fighting strange objects in the sky. "These are from 15,000 years ago," the general said. "And these," he showed more pictures, air from Egypt, China, and South America, all showing the same thing. "The birds have been protecting Earth for thousands of years," Jay said. "We just never knew." Sue looked up from her work. "I found something in their language. There's a word they use for humans. It sounds like this." She played a soft chirping sound. "What does it mean?" Jin asked. "As best I can tell," Sue said, "it means the young ones." Everyone was quiet for a moment. "They see us as children," Jay said. "Children they need to protect." "But why?" Hyun asked. "Why would they care about humans?" Before anyone could answer, Scout flew into the room through an open window. He made urgent sounds and flew around their heads. "Something's happening," Sue said, checking her equipment. The bird communications just increased tenfold. On the radar screens, the alien fleet was moving. Thousands of ships were descending toward Earth again. "They're attacking now," Jin said. "All over the world at once." Scout landed on Jay's shoulder and made a series of complex sounds. Sue listened carefully. "He's saying the birds need our help this time." "What can we do against those ships?" Hyun asked. Jay thought for a moment. "We need to amplify their communication, help them coordinate better." "I can build transmitters to boost their signals," Hyun said, "if you can translate what they're saying." "And we need to blind the alien sensors," Jin added. "Our missiles can't hurt their ships, but we can create smoke screens to help the birds get closer." Around the world, humans prepared to fight alongside the birds. Scientists built devices to boost bird communications. Military forces created distractions to help the birds. Ordinary people set up bird rest stations with food and water. For the first time, two species on Earth were truly working together. In space, Commander Tychlax watched the approaching planet. "These humans are nothing," he told his officers, "and we will crush their flying pets." But one officer looked worried. "Commander, our history files show something interesting. 3 other empires tried to conquer Earth in the past. None returned." "Nonsense," Tychlax said. "We are the Vrol. We conquer all." On Earth, Jay stood outside the bunker with Scout on his arm. Millions of birds darkened the sky, ready for battle. "We're with you this time," he told Scout. "Together." Scout spread his wings and took flight, joining the greatest bird army the world had ever seen. The second attack was worse than the first. This time, the Vrol ships came with new weapons. They fired orange beams that made no sound but killed birds instantly. Thousands of birds fell from the sky in seconds. "They made weapons just to kill birds," Jay said, watching the terrible scene on the screens. In the command center, everyone worked fast. Hyun connected devices that amplified bird communications. Sue translated the bird language for the military. Captain Jin coordinated human forces with the bird defense. The birds are changing their attack, Sue said, listening to her equipment. They're staying in smaller groups, moving faster. Outside, the sky turned dark as smoke from burning buildings filled the air. The orange beams cut through the smoke, searching for birds. We need to help them, Jay said. They're dying too fast. Scout flew into the room through a vent. He looked tired, some of his feathers burned. He made urgent sounds to Sue. He says they found the weapon's weakness, Sue translated. The orange beams can only fire for 20 seconds, then need 10 seconds to recharge. That's our window, Captain Jin said. She spoke into her radio. All units, coordinate attacks in the 10-second gaps. Follow the bird's lead. Human jets took off, carrying no weapons. Instead, they dropped special smoke that blocked the alien sensors. In that smoke, birds could attack without being seen. Hyun had another idea. What if we jam their targeting systems? I can use our satellites to send signals on their frequency. Do it, Jin ordered. Across the world, the pattern was the same. Birds and humans working together. Birds showed where to attack. Humans provided cover and support. But the alien ships were strong. For every ship they took down, 10 more appeared. And the birds were dying by the millions. In space, Commander Tychlax watched with anger. How are they still fighting? He demanded. They're just birds. Sir, we're detecting strange signals, an officer reported. The humans are helping the birds communicate. Target their communication centers, Tychlax ordered. Cut off their coordination. On Earth, the bunker shook as a direct hit struck nearby. They found us, Jin said. Everyone to the backup location. They grabbed their equipment and ran. Scout led them through underground tunnels to a new bunker 5 miles away. As they set up again, bad news came in. Bird casualties were too high. At this rate, they would all be gone in hours. We need to protect them better, Jay said. They're sacrificing everything for us. Sue had been quiet, listening to the bird communications. Now she looked up with tears in her eyes. They knew this would happen, she said. The birds knew many would die. They'd done this before, in ancient times. What do you mean? Hyun asked. I've translated more of their language, Sue explained. They have stories, passed down through generations, about fighting metal sky demons. They know exactly what these aliens are. And they still chose to protect us, Jay said softly. Captain Jin received an urgent message. The aliens are changing tactics. They're going after bird nesting areas now, trying to wipe them out completely. Jay thought quickly. We need to move the nests. Get as many eggs and young birds to safety as possible. How? Hyun asked. There are millions of nests worldwide. We ask people to help, Jay said. Everyone. This is about saving our protectors now. Jin nodded and sent the message worldwide. Save the birds that are saving us. Across the planet, people responded. Children collected eggs from parks. Farmers moved nests from fields. Zoo workers created safe spaces for injured birds. In Korea, Jai and his team created a special shelter in the deepest part of the bunker. Scout brought the first injured birds there himself. We'll protect you now, Jay told them, like you've protected us. In his ship, Commander Tychlax received more bad news. The humans are saving the birds faster than we can kill them, an officer reported. And our ships are still falling. Tychlax smashed his control panel in rage. This cannot be happening. They are primitive creatures. But it was happening. For the first time in its long history of conquest, the Vrol Empire was losing. And on Earth, the bond between humans and birds grew stronger with each passing hour. A week into the war, the world had changed completely. Armies no longer fought alone. Every military unit had bird guides now. Eagles and hawks flew ahead of tanks. Crows sat on soldiers' shoulders, warning of danger. Smaller birds carried tiny cameras, becoming living spy planes. Jay's discovery had spread worldwide. Every country now had teams like his, working with birds as true partners. In their new command center, Ja, Su, Hyun, and Captain Jin watched the battle maps. The aliens still controlled the skies, but they were losing ships every hour. The birds have learned to avoid the orange beams, Su said. They attack in waves now. First group causes a distraction. Second group hits the weak points. Hyun had built a translation device. It couldn't speak bird language, but it could understand much of it now. Listen to this, he said, pointing to a screen showing bird communications from around the world. They're sharing attack plans globally. When birds in America find a new weak spot on the ships, birds in Asia know about it minutes later. Captain Jin nodded. Better than our own military communication. Scout entered through a special door they had made just for birds. He wasn't alone. With him was a huge golden eagle. That's the leader of the Eagle Division, Su said, checking her translator. He wants to show us something. The eagle dropped something on the table. It was a piece of alien technology, a small round device that glowed green. It's from inside one of their ships, Hyun said, examining it carefully. Some kind of control unit. Scout made a series of sounds. The translator displayed words on a screen. Ship brain. Study. Find weakness. Joe looked at the eagle with respect. You got this from inside a ship. How? The eagle just blinked. Scout answered for him. Many birds, many sacrifices. Worth it. Hyun began to study the device. This could help us understand their whole system, maybe even jam their controls. More good news came in from around the world. Human scientists had created special suits for birds that protected them from the orange beams. They couldn't save all birds, but the suits helped the leaders and scouts. In Brazil, people discovered that certain plants could heal injured birds quickly. In Japan, engineers built tiny weapons that birds could carry to disable ship sensors. It's not just about defense anymore, Captain Jin said. We're really fighting back now. On the screens, they could see it happening. In New York, birds covered in reflective material bounced the orange beams back at the ships. In Egypt, birds dropped small bombs into ship engines. In Australia, emus and other large birds protected people by letting them hide under their huge groups. Commander Tychlax was now in serious trouble. In a message to his leaders, he tried to explain. The birds and humans are working together in ways we've never seen before, he said. The birds know our weaknesses somehow, and the humans adapt quickly. The Vrol Imperator, leader of their entire empire, replied with anger. You told us this would be an easy conquest. Fix this or don't return. Tychlax ordered a new strategy. Target their leaders. Find the humans who work closest with the birds and eliminate them. On Earth, Jay didn't know he was now a primary target. He worked day and night with Scout and other birds, learning more about their ancient knowledge. According to their stories, Jay told the others, the Vrol have tried to invade Earth 3 times before. Each time, the birds drove them away, but at great cost. Why didn't they tell humans before? Hyun asked. Scout made a sad sound. The translator showed, humans not ready. Humans fight each other, not see bigger danger. But now we're ready, Captain Jin asked. Scout nodded his bird head. The translator showed, now, together, strong. Outside, human children helped feed injured birds. Scientists worked with bird leaders to plan attacks. Military pilots flew alongside eagles, each protecting the other. For the first time in Earth's history, 2 species fought as true equals against a common enemy. And in space, more Vrol ships arrived, including the Imperator's personal battleship. The final battle was coming. The Vrol Imperator's ship was like nothing Earth had seen before. It was huge, 10 times bigger than the largest ships so far. It glowed purple and had weapons on every side. That's their leader, Captain Jin said, looking at the satellite images. The Imperator himself. News came in from space agencies. Thousands more alien ships were arriving. This was their biggest attack yet. They're getting desperate, Hyun said. They've never failed to conquer a planet before. Jo looked worried. There are too many ships. Even with all birds working together, we can't fight that many. Scout and his bird friends were talking fast to each other. The translator showed. Old plan. Last defense. Need all birds. What old plan? Sue asked. Scout looked at Jo with his clever bird eyes. The translator showed. The pattern. Big pattern. All birds together. Outside, something amazing was happening. Birds were gathering in huge groups, bigger than ever before. Not just thousands or millions, but billions. Every bird on Earth seemed to be joining. What are they doing? Jin asked. Hyun checked global radar. They're forming some kind of design. A pattern across the whole Earth. On the screens, they could see it. Birds were creating an enormous pattern that could only be seen from space. It looked like a giant web or net covering the planet. It's an old defense, Sue said, reading bird communications from their oldest stories. They call it the Skynet. Then bad news arrived. The Vrol had found their location. 3 ships were heading straight for their bunker. They're targeting us specifically, Jin said. They know we're coordinating with the birds. We need to move, Hyun said, already packing equipment. But Jay shook his head. No time, and we can't stop our work now. He looked at Scout. We stay and finish this. Scout made a sound of agreement. He flew outside, joining thousands of birds now gathering above their bunker. The alien ships arrived, weapons ready. They fired at the bunker, breaking through the top layers of protection. Keep working, Jai shouted as the building shook. Hyun, finish the signal jammer. Sue, keep translating. Jin, coordinate the ground forces. They worked as the bunker crumbled around them. The birds outside fought desperately to protect them, but the alien weapons were too powerful. Then one of the ships broke through. It hovered right above the open bunker. A beam of light appeared, and a figure descended. It was Commander Tyclax. He looked like the aliens in the first message, but bigger and with armor. He had 4 arms, each holding a weapon. So these are the humans who speak to birds, he said in perfect English. How pathetic. Jin drew her gun, but Tyclax knocked it away easily. Your planet is done, he said. The Imperator himself has come to watch your defeat. Above, the sky darkened as the Imperator's giant ship moved into position. It began charging its main weapon, a massive cannon that could destroy an entire city. But something else was happening too. The bird pattern was complete. Billions of birds, all connected, all working together across the planet. Scout flew inside and landed on Jay's shoulder. He made a sound the translator couldn't understand at first. Then it showed. Now, together, the voice. Hyun's equipment suddenly picked up a new signal. Something's happening. The birds are singing. All of them. The same note. The sound grew stronger. Not just birds now, but whales in the ocean, wolves in forests, every animal on Earth joining in a single sound. The noise became physical. The air vibrated. The ground shook. Tyclax covered his ears in pain. What is this? He shouted. In space, the alien ships began to shake. Their systems failed. Weapons shut down. The Imperator's ship stopped charging its weapon. Alarms sounded throughout the fleet. They've never seen our full defense, Jay said in wonder. The animals of Earth all together. What humans heard as noise was actually a precise frequency. It disrupted the alien technology completely. Ships began falling from the sky, unable to fly or fight. Tyclax stared in disbelief. Impossible, he whispered. The battle was turning. Earth was winning. The sound continued for 3 hours. During that time, the Vrol fleet fell apart. Ships crashed or drifted away, unable to work. Tyclax had been captured. He sat in a special cell, still covering his ears even though the sound had stopped for him. How? He kept asking, how did primitive creatures defeat the Vrol Empire? Ja, Su, Hyun, and Captain Jin watched from the new command center as the remaining alien ships tried to escape Earth's orbit. Many couldn't even do that. The birds saved us, Jay said simply. Again. But the victory came at a terrible cost. Millions of birds had died. Many species lost half their numbers or more. The bird population of Earth would take years to recover. Scout looked tired but proud. He stood on a special perch they had made for him in the command center. Around the world, other birds were being honored the same way. What does the Imperator say? Jin asked, looking at Teklax. He's sending one last message, Hyun said, checking the translation. He admits defeat. He says Earth will be marked as defended in their star maps. Su smiled, meaning they won't try to conquer us again. They will tell others too, Jay added. No alien race will try to attack Earth when they learn what happened to the Vrol. Outside, people were coming out of hiding. They looked up at the sky, not in fear, but with new understanding. Birds weren't just animals anymore. They were partners, protectors, heroes. Children left food for birds in parks. Scientists built special healing centers for injured birds. Governments created new laws to protect bird habitats. A week after the defeat of the Vrol, world leaders met with Jay's team. We need to maintain this alliance, the Secretary General said. The birds have been protecting us for millions of years without thanks. That must change. Jay nodded. They don't want much. Just respect, protection, and clean habitats. And we will give them that, said the President of the United States. Every nation has agreed to create a global avian defense network. Dr. Kim, we want you to lead it. Jay was surprised. Me? The birds trust you, the Korean president explained. Especially your friend Scout. Scout, sitting on Jay's shoulder, made a happy sound. Captain Jin was promoted to general, in charge of military cooperation with bird forces. Hyun would lead a new technology division, developing better ways to communicate with birds. Su would run a translation team, teaching humans to understand bird language. 1 month after the invasion, things were starting to feel normal again. But Earth had changed forever. In a special ceremony, world leaders thanked the birds formally. Jay stood on a stage with Scout and translated for him. We have always watched over this world, Scout's message said. For millions of years before humans, we saw you grow from small creatures into builders of cities. We protected you from threats you never knew existed. The crowd was silent, listening. In the past, we kept our distance. Humans were not ready to know us truly. You fought each other too much. But now you have seen a real enemy, and you fought beside us, not as masters of Earth, but as partners. Jay felt proud as he translated these words. We will continue to watch the skies, Scout's message concluded. But now we do it together. The alien ships were gone. The dead were buried, both human and bird. The rebuilding had begun. Jay spent his evenings at home now, with a special window always open. Scout would come and go as he pleased. Sometimes he brought friends. Sometimes he just came to sit quietly as Jay worked. And high above Earth, the warnings spread through space. The blue planet with its oceans and green lands was not the easy target it appeared to be. It was defended by creatures with wings and beaks and remarkable courage. And now, by the humans who had finally learned to listen to them. Earth, at last, was truly safe.